Welcome to the Roundtable Friends. I'm Dave Flores. We're back again on another Wednesday, 7 o'clock. And we're on YouTube and Facebook, as you know, ncsdlive.com. And that's designed to let you go to that internet site, ncsdlive.com. And then there's these big links there, easy ones. Click for Facebook, click for YouTube. You can also see what we actually do besides the show in video work, which is a lot of live internet streaming for events and other things going on in North County. We have a couple special guests with us tonight at the round table. And first I wanted to introduce Mia Roseberry. She's with the Wounded Warrior Homes. And welcome to the show, Mia.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I've always wondered about that, and we're going to find out more after we do our couple news items. We'll come back and talk to you at length. We also have Joe Mergens, and Joe is a computer consultant.
That's right, Dave.
Not too nerdy.
Pretty nerdy.
And great to see you, Joe.
Good to see you,
So
Dave.
we'll
Thank
come
you.
back and we'll talk about their businesses and what they're doing in North County. So let's start it off. Let's get to our board and let's take a look at our subjects for the news. San Onofre seawall repair protecting nuke waste is challenged in court. Our second story is car dwellers are finding safe night parking as the law changes. And those both affect our North County. Those are big issues, especially San Onofre. You may recall we did a story on San Onofre. This was about 4 weeks ago on the program. And oh my, we got into the weeds on it. And there's a lot of moving parts going on right now. And so we're updating that story because there's been some developments here in the last week or so we wanted to let you know about. First of all, what is the lawsuit about? There is a lawsuit that's challenging San Onofre and SCE, Edison, from repairing their wall that's protecting the San Onofre nuclear waste. Now, most people may not know this, but in the past 15 months, Edison has sought and received 2 administrative waivers allowing the utility to protect this seawall around all this nuclear waste at San Onofre from erosion. But there's a lawsuit slapped against it saying, no, you can't do that. I don't like that because there's a lot of waste out there that they're trying to protect. At any rate, they've had a couple administrative waivers from the Coastal Commission needed to do this. Now let's take a look here. That's the San Onofre nuclear waste storage area. You see all those concrete pillars and of course the beautiful ocean behind it. That wall is basically protecting these concrete enclosures where the nuclear waste is actually lowered in these big huge canisters. So that wall is protecting this area from getting damaged in case we have high seas, Lord forbid tsunami or something like that, obviously, but just high seas in general. So at any rate, there is a lawsuit on that. Now, according to SCE, this seawall upgrade is going to cost them about $1 million. Seems like money well spent to protect this nuclear waste. And most of the work will be performed at night so it doesn't disturb the public. But this lawsuit is claiming that this Coastal Commission, who oversees this, the Coastal Commission of California, wasn't following the rules regarding public notification for repair of the wall. Okay. But Edison says, no, we complied with state public notification rules. Now check this out. You got to check this out. All right. Complying with the state public notification rules to repair this wall involved posting a flyer announcing the permit application at the south entrance of the nuclear plant. I mean, who hangs around that fence? Can you just see this 8.5 by 11 thing dangling on a fence in the back of the nuclear plant? I mean, no one's going to see that. And then the other thing is that they said, oh no, but we didn't do just that. We added another flyer at the San Onofre State Beach Guard Shack. Cool, guys. That's the kind of stuff we're looking at here in this story. A lot of moving parts, a lot of seemingly, incongruous events. It just seems incredible. You can't make this stuff up. But at any rate, let's get back to Edison's spokesperson. What he's saying is, to clarify, the work we're doing is not the seawall itself. It is just simply protecting the seawall by adding rock to protect the wall itself. This is a 2,000-foot long seawall, by the way, just west of the shuttered plant. So all they're really doing is adding rock to protect the wall. That's basically what we're looking at. So this lawsuit has to be resolved. The commission did allow interim storage in 2015 after Edison says we're shuttering the plant. The facility is licensed for 3.6 million pounds of nuclear waste, and the license is for 20 years. They can keep it there that long. Now, we of course want that out of here a lot sooner than that. So there's some issues to do this. What they're doing there, as we see here another picture on the screen, they're transferring waste from cooling pools into what's called dry storage, which are heavy canisters filled with the fuel assemblies. Of course, they're radioactive as you know what. And then they're planted in the storage facility. But that work was halted in August after a misaligned canister, one of these 50-ton canisters, was wedged into a silo about 18 feet above the floor for nearly an hour, helpless. This nuclear, that would be equivalent, you'd think, to a nuclear bomb as far as all the radioactivity going on there. And they were stuck. They couldn't do anything. They were stymied, and we were in danger, and we didn't even know that. But we know it now. It's been reported. So what happened is Mike Levin, one of the House of Representatives that represent North County, and let's clarify this. North County has 2 House of Representatives, congressmen. Mike Levin on the coastal area, Duncan Hunter on the inland area. They need to work together, and we've called for this. They need to work together, even though they're Democrat-Republican. When it comes to nuclear safety and danger, I'm sure that they're on the same page. But we need to tell them, come on guys, let's get on with this. Especially since California's faults have been remapped to show many considered inactive now active. That's a big deal, because there's at least 2 active faults within range of this. And not to mention all the other ones that have been changed now from inactive to active. So we are on the spot. So the House, and Mike Levin is in fact acting on this, and we have some breaking news for you. This is a release from Mike Levin, and here it is. Yesterday, which was May 23rd, Mike Levin introduced the Spent Fuel Prioritization Act to prioritize the removal of spent nuclear fuel from decommissioned nuclear sites, not just from us, but from others. And these sites with large populations and high seismic hazard, that's us, with over 9 million people living within 50 miles of San Onofre. Southern California has, of course, great seismic risk. So this bill would make our San Onofre one of the highest priority sites in the nation for removal. Yay, Mike. We love to hear somebody doing something about it. Now, where's this stuff going to go? Our last report, we got into the weeds, like I said. Yucca Mountain, Nevada. In 1987, the federal government spent $11 billion plus to study that site, and they approved it as a repository for these nuclear plants that were shutting down. But what happened is this was in 1987 they did this. Now, the Obama administration cut it and said, nope, we're not going to take it there, because local residents complained. Well, you can understand that, right? If I was living next to that thing, I'd probably complain too. But the country made a decision. So the Trump administration is revitalizing that plan, And that's going to play into this whole scene, so that if we can get cleared to take it there, hopefully that will happen. But Hunter and Levin need to work together. The whole House of Representatives does. Here's their contact information. It's an important enough story for you to know this. Mike Levin, Coastal North County. It's mikelevin.house.gov. Go to that website and you'll have ample opportunity to email or even call. Duncan Hunter, Inland North County, hunter.house.gov. Urge you guys to go. If you're not sure what area you're in, go to their site and just type in your zip code and they'll tell you, yes, you're in my district or you're not. Let them know that you've seen this update and that you'd like them to work together to get this waste out of our area as soon as possible. And let's hope that the lawsuit that's been filed doesn't affect protecting the wall out there for the nuclear waste, okay? So contact your congressman. That's not a bad idea, is it? Oh my. Did I get into that one? I did, didn't I? Maybe I got a little too passionate about that one. But, it's just amazing to me that, these things are like flyers hanging on fences or on guard shacks at the beach, and this thing is just, it's a big deal. All right, well, so at any rate, let's move on to our second item, because that's another important thing that's happened. Car dwellers are finding safe night parking as the law changes. Now, the first thing I wanted to do is let's take a look at the Dreams for Change preamble on their website. There are two organizations, Dreams for Change and Jewish Family Services. Those are the two that are handling the safe parking now for cars and RVs, parking at night, people living in their cars, basically, right? It's come a long way from the old days when I actually would sleep in the back of my truck in a little camper in front of my friend's house. I was just like a young guy that, and I wasn't homeless, but it would be like, hey, don't drive. We partied. Just sleep in the back of your truck. But at least the people knew I was there. The family knew that Dave's truck is out front and he's sleeping in the back. And this situation came up where people were getting up, in the morning and finding homeless people parked in front of their house, basically, and, food trash in their patios and things like that. I mean, it got out of control. So San Diego did change the law. And this Dreams for Change that you've been looking at, basically I wanted you to just see, they have a point about this. This is from Dreams for Change. Life happens, it's not always pretty, etc., etc. But what I wanted to really look at in this was the fact that almost 50% of Americans have $0 saved or no account at all. So what their point is that many families are one major incident away from homelessness. Bankruptcy, debilitating sickness, reduced work, unemployment. I mean, so we're maybe not in as great a shape as we think in general. This can happen to a lot of people without being their fault. So they're kicking in and they're helping people. To date, more than 33,000 people from that program, Dreams for Change. Let's take a brief look at what this law does. The new law prohibits people who live in a car or an RV to park their vehicle at any time within 500 feet of a home or a school. People are not allowed to sleep in a vehicle parked on a public street. And also, by the way, Dreams for Change returns their calls. I did a test, when I was getting the story ready. I thought, how does this work? So I called Dreams for Change and Jewish Family Services. And you know what? It was after hours, but the next morning I got return calls. And, I just, they left messages on my machine. But the point is they were saying, hey, we're here to help you, et cetera, et cetera. It was a great thing for me to experience because I know these people are doing their job. And they're helping people out there that need it. So at any rate, this new law, It's also, people are not allowed to sleep in a vehicle parked on a public street between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. if, that's the word, if there are spots available at legal safe parking lots. So if there are not spots available, then they're okay. A separate law prohibits RVs and other big vehicles from parking on a city street or public parking lots between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. The police got their memo May 16th, and they were directed to just issue warnings to people at this point until further notice. And they were also told, don't make contact with them only if you've received a complaint about that specific person or that specific automobile. So law enforcement is going, with kid gloves, rightly so, because we want to solve the problem. Jewish Family Service has accepted tons of cars, and they have a contract with the city, and there's their information on the screen for you. If you know anybody who needs their service, please contact them. They are expected to open a new city-funded safe parking lot near the stadium in Mission Valley with capacity of up to 200 cars. An interesting note about this is that the cars and the RVs in the same lots did not work out in the sense that the lots were allowing the RVs to stay overnight. Of course, all of them stayed overnight, the cars and them. But then in the morning, the cars needed to go, but the RVs got to stay. Even one of the RVs, I saw, there was a lady that and her friend, and they had like a little garden. And they made a little nice little rock thing and all that. So the thing is, the people in the cars were going, oh, wait a minute, I'm in my car and I got to leave, and these people are hanging out growing tomatoes, So, naturally there was a little bit of rivalry going there, and they didn't feel it was fair. So the new lot that's opening by the stadium, they're going to tell everybody to get out in the morning. So we'll see how that works out. The homeless people have a tough thing going for them, no matter how we slice this. And there's Dreams for Change and Jewish Family Services. Again, we want you, if you know anyone who is getting to that point where they need this service, let them know, because the statistics are good. Almost 40% of the people who have used these services within 6 months are actually transferred to a place to stay and or education and or jobs. So this is actually working to transcend people from their temporary homeless condition in their cars to better places and better things for them. It's always nice to have a positive ending on stuff like this, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Well, I think that's, let's recap again. Okay, we've talked about the San Onofre plant, we've talked about the homeless in their cars, and let's go to something a little on the lighter side. Cruising Grand, baby, Cruising Grand, that's it, there it is. Escondido every Friday night, starts at 5 o'clock. And we've been out there doing some live broadcasting and had a great time out there. On our channel, you'll see a lot of videos that are from Cruising Grand, and you'll learn a lot about the music, the cars, the people, and all their loves. Again, this is going to run through September 27th in Escondido on Fridays, and it's the largest weekly car cruise west of the Mississippi. I wasn't aware of that, but I learn something new every day. I try. We'll see you there, okay? One other note before we go to commercial break. We want to wish Patty Thompson a safe recovery from kidney transplant. Now take a look at these ladies. Patty Thompson on the left and Kim Holcomb on the right. Kim Holcomb donated a kidney to Patty. They both went into surgery yesterday. Today's Wednesday, so it was yesterday. They went in at Scripps, and the surgeries were successful, and they're recovering. And this, what greater love would these two have for each other than something like that? And so Patty's the founder of Escondido Friends Facebook group, in case you didn't know that, and she is a much loved activist for positive community relations in Escondido. And Kim, as her donor, is a rare humanitarian. So our thoughts and prayers are with them both as they are recovering. That's a positive story. We ended up with that.
That is
That's
beautiful.
a positive one. Can you imagine donating a kidney? So this is all good. We are going to be back in just a moment with our special guests, Mia Roseberry with Wounded Warrior Homes and Joe Mergens with Mergan's Computer Consulting. And we're going to be back after this brief message brought to you by QuizShowMania.com, where people of all ages have fun with quiz shows on events. And then also the expertise of RC Video Productions.
Show Mania is San Diego's best kept secret in live entertainment. Quiz Show Mania. Great for shopping malls, schools, company parties, special events, church groups, team building, and seminars, because it's fun for all ages. Quiz Show Mania will work with you every step of the way to customize your experience and value.
Which of Earth's 5 oceans is the smallest?
Indian?
No.
Red?
No. Arctic.
Quiz Show Mania is San Diego's best kept secret in live entertainment.
Attract more people to your business with a custom video commercial. RC Video Productions is an Escondido company specializing in marketing video for both small and large businesses. Advertising in print with local coupon books, magazines, and newspapers isn't nearly as effective as reaching customers who stare at their smartphone all day. Let us help you reach them with your own custom video commercial. Along with high-quality video, RC Video Productions employs social media marketing strategies when producing video commercials to increase visibility and interest in your business. If you own a restaurant, coffee shop, retail store, yoga studio, or offer a service such as phone or auto repair, we have a package price tailored to your business. RC Video Productions can also handle the complete campaign from strategy to production to digital distribution. Contact us now to book a meeting or schedule a shoot and receive $100 off. Put your advertising message directly in front of your potential customer with RC Video Productions.
Thanks. Okay, well, we are back with our special guests, Mia Roseberry with Wounded Warrior Homes and Joe Mergens with Mergan's Computer Consulting. They've been patiently waiting as we were digging through the weeds on news. Okay, so let's start with you, Mia. First of all, just tell us a little bit about Wounded Warrior Homes and how you got involved.
My husband and I are the founders.
Wow.
So we got involved because from the very first set of boots on the ground in Fallujah, we had a Marine Corps wife living with us. And when her husband came back, he slept on my living room floor with his back against the wall, his helmet, his flak jacket. His wife's in the other room, there's a couch right there. And that's where he felt safe because he could see, you know, most of the entrances and exits on the house. And when my nephew did 2 tours, he found the same spot. They had to move furniture to get that spot too. And that's where they slept. And we're like, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
And then a little later in time, our daughter was dating a Marine out of 29 Palms. So every weekend we had a house full of Marines and Navy corpsmen. And you just start to hear stories the more you're around people, you know, about brothers in arms or biological siblings that were serving our country and going to war and coming home, and things weren't the same. And they were going home to wherever it is they lived, a majority of them in the Midwest, and the services they needed to make that successful transition weren't there. San Diego has a lot of great services. I mean, we pretty much have everything you can imagine here to support our veterans. So we contacted the Wounded Warrior Battalion at Camp Pendleton and asked them what they needed. And they said that the veterans with traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress are falling through the cracks because they consider it the invisible wounds of war. And they were ending up homeless.
Oh my.
And you were talking about all the people living in their cars, and some of them are our veterans.
Right.
And so we said, all right, well, what do we do and how do we do it? And
Right.
in 2009, we decided to go down this crazy road of starting a nonprofit. My husband's a general contractor and a home inspector, and I was a special ed teacher, and we thought, well, how hard could it be?
Oh.
It was an interesting ride.
Yeah.
But here we are. That was May of 2009, and here we are in the end of May in 2012, and or sorry, 2019.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And we opened
Time
our
does
doors.
fly.
Yeah, we opened our doors for our first set of veterans in 2012.
I see.
And since then, we have served. I think we had a veteran transition out last weekend, and into his own place. And we're at about 83 veterans through 3 houses and 13 beds, which we've built up over time. We started out with a 3-bedroom apartment, and through the program, in the transitional housing program, and we serve probably another 20 to 30 veterans a month currently through access to our food pantry, our support services, and dog food for their service dogs.
Sure.
We also have, out of 13 veterans, we have 7 service dogs in our program as well. So every house has at least 1 dog. And
Good. It's healthy.
and we just decided this was something that needed to happen in San Diego, and
right.
I talked to people within the veteran community and said, if I build this, what does it need to look like? Help us vet it, let's get it going. And we got our nonprofit status in 28 days in 2010, and
good.
spent the next couple of years building the program and
Good.
opening our doors. And the first veteran through and through our program actually started his own nonprofit.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You were an inspiration for that.
So he and his girlfriend have a nonprofit called iJourney. His name's Robert Caudill.
Okay.
And they're located in Oceanside, and they do yoga and meditation to help veterans manage their PTSD and their traumatic brain injury.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's quite a beginning, and like you say, you're in it now, and there's it's a passion. It's a passion. You know, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of your events that are coming up. I think we have some slides up there that, well, first of all, here's the Wounded Warrior Homes website, woundedwarriorhomes.org, and there they can see events and other things that are going on. I noticed, too, that this golf situation, you had a fairway. Oh, well, first of all, let's take a look at some of these guys. They are working, what are they doing?
That's actually a Team Depot project at our Mahogany Drive property. We're having a grand opening for this house next week. We've actually had
So you
veterans
actually
in it.
built the house then?
We actually, no, we bought the house. That's my husband on the left there with the
there
saw.
he is. Wow.
We bought the house in last year. In 2018, in the beginning of the year, it took us a few months to get it renovated so it was safe. And the veterans moved in June of last year, and we just had our 1-year anniversary. And Team Depot came in and did the backyard. They did it.
Nice.
They donated. Team Depot did about $22,000 worth of renovations on the property, primarily the backyard, and they bought us a new refrigerator and a new stove.
So these homes are they transitional in nature, basically?
They are. So they're transitional homes because the veterans come and go as they need to. They move in when they're really in a bad space, and then they get back on their feet and they make the transition out. So guys come and go over varying times depending on how long they need to be there. And so we consider each home a legacy home. We own 2. We rent 1 in Escondido. And we have a home in Oceanside and a home in Vista. And our landlord in Escondido has been great for the last 5 years to give us a low rate, and has stuck with it.
Good.
And you know, we've got plans for a campus in the future.
Wow.
So that's what we're working on. That's our big plan right now, is because our office is in San Marcos and we have veterans spread out throughout North County. If we want to have a meeting, because we do training classes, if we want to have a meeting at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday night, who wants to drive across the 78 from Escondido at 6 o'clock?
Oh,
Nobody does. So, and we also think we can offer a lot more in-house services, a lot more training, a lot more classes. We could bring in yoga and meditation if we just had the space. But our office doesn't give us that kind of space. So building a campus, we can all be in one place. We can have office, we can have training rooms, we can have meeting rooms for the veterans to meet with case managers. We can have, you know, a common area. We're going to have outdoor activities. We're going to have a dog run, and we'll be able to increase our services past just single male veterans to families and veterans with children, because we've got veterans in our program that have kids, and sometimes when they transition out, their kids come to live with them.
Right.
But why wait till they make the full transition? Let's bring them in with their kids now.
Yes.
And so
Great idea.
and there's a lot of need in our community. We have a waiting list all the time.
Oh, man.
And we really need to just take this next leap and be able to increase our services.
It's a holistic
Wonderful.
approach.
It is. It's a great approach.
Expand that.
Now, what about, here we go, Fairways for Veterans golf outing. Now, what is that fairly new for you guys? or-
This will be our 5th year.
Oh, really?
Yes, and this is at the Shadow Ridge
Oh, okay.
Country Club
Right.
in Vista.
Great.
They're an amazing venue, and it's a private club, so a lot of people don't get to play it. And it is our one major fundraiser we do a year, besides our year-end campaign. But this is a come out and participate. We still have some spots from sponsors, and some of the upper level sponsors actually sponsor 2 to 4 veteran golfers to play.
Okay.
So we have about 24 veterans that come out and play for free. And they're sponsored by either an individual or through a sponsorship.
Right.
And it's an opportunity for veterans in our program, or just veterans in the community, to really come out and have fun and to thank them.
Well, we have a video clip, and Rich is going to cue that up, and let's just see if we can get an idea here what's going on. Now, our mics are still up, right, Rich?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you have any comments as we're watching this that you want to?
This was an event that we were out, I believe this one is at the Rancho Bernardo Country Club.
Ooh, singer there.
Yeah, that's Amy Scruggs. I don't know if you know her. She's a local singer. She's a huge veteran advocate. And I've been working with her for years. She's an amazing singer. And it's just an opportunity to really come out and, that's our assistant director, Jean, and come out and just have fun,
Yeah, it looks like they're having a great time out there.
We do, shotgun. We have an auction in the evening.
This was a great golf tournament,
and,
having this tournament for Wounded Warrior homes,
dinner,
and all this money goes
early
to
dinner,
help
and
our
just
military
come have
guys.
fun, support the veterans. A lot of our guys in our
Bernardo.
program, we've got a lot of them signed up this year. Last year, not so many. It just depends on whether they're golfers or not. And a lot of the guys in our program are actually going to be participating.
Got a lot of carts
this year.
lined up there.
Our goal is.
Hey, look.
Yeah, my husband.
I know
and
that person.
Yeah, and that's my husband next to me.
Cool.
And our goal is to have about 100 to 110 golfers at the event. And maybe 120. And just come out, have fun, support the veterans, because the funds from this event help pay for the veterans in our program. Because when they come into our program, they don't have any income. A lot of them don't have any benefits. They're living in their car. They're barely have anything. Living in your car, like we were talking about, how am I going to shower and get ready and get sleep and be prepared to go to work? So this is a great opportunity for people to support the program.
Sure is. And there's a number to call.
That number's old.
Uh-oh.
We have a better number now.
Well, let's update the number since we're live. Go ahead.
It's 760 205
205
5050.
5050.
Right, we moved into an office. The number changed.
Okay, so the area code again is
760
760
205
205
5050.
5050.
Yeah.
I always got to double check on that stuff.
Well, we used to work out of my home. So when we finally graduated from, our guest room, the kitchen, my husband's office, and the living room table, we went into an office and went from a Google phone number to a real phone number. We grew up.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I'm sure that there'll be updates as we go along with your program, and we'll try to stay on top of the events as they happen.
We actually have the open house coming up and a work day on the 8th. We really need some support around putting in a block wall. It's a retaining wall on a hillside, so if anybody wants to help us out, we'd be happy to have them. They just contact the office. They can either go online and sign up, or they can call the office and say they want to help out and volunteer. Great.
I hope that happens. I hope that we'll get plenty of support out there for this great program. I'm so glad to have you, because I learned, I didn't realize half of what she was telling me, that, this is a labor of love. It really is. I mean, I can just see you in your kitchen doing this. And,
kitchen table.
Yes.
Everywhere. There were people everywhere. It's great.
Working from home takes a passion.
It does.
Yeah,
it
it
takes
does.
a passion. There's no separation from your personal life
That
and
was-
that thing that you're doing.
That was exactly when we finally
takes-
said
yeah.
enough's enough.
Yeah.
We got to move out.
The commute is wonderful.
Yes. Well, I'm only 2 exits away now, so the commute's even better.
Yeah, there
Still
you go.
close.
All right. Well, that brings us our attention to Joe Mergens.
Hey,
And
Dave.
Joe, gosh, we used to hang around the Carvin building for
Yep.
years, and
Yep.
and Joe's always been a computer whiz. Although I think you had your share where they'd say it's Joe's fault,
Of
or then
course.
they'd say Joe saved us.
Yeah. You're either a hero or a goat, and oftentimes there's no in between.
Okay.
And I think over time you develop a kind of an instinct to understand that you're not the biggest hero on the planet, and you're not the worst person either. Generally speaking, most people are dealing with either excitement that they can finally do what they wanted to do,
Right.
or the frustration that they simply can't do what they want to do.
There you go.
And in this era of computers, everything becomes such an immediate concern.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is so important right in this moment. I can click this button, I can get to here, I can be there, I can open a website, I can, and get a video right away. If I'm working on my car, I can hop on YouTube and find an answer instantaneously. If I lose that ability to hit the button and see the TV show that I want to see right now, or the movie, or listen to my friends yelling about how bad the ending of Game of Thrones was, or whatever. If I can't do that, if I lose that capability, suddenly my digital world has come to a crashing halt.
Yes.
And that will cause people to get a little frustrated. But I've been doing this a pretty long time. As you mentioned, we spent a lot of time at the Carvin building together, you and I
we
did.
did.
And Rich from RC Video Productions.
Yeah, Rich is back there at the
dear friend of
controls,
mine
right?
as well.
Yeah.
In doing this, you for a very long time. I had worked as a consultant for about 12 years before I decided to go out on my own. Worked with another company. They're now DSD Business Systems. Great people, wonderful, talented consultants that specialize in accounting software.
Right.
But when I started with Doug in that business, we were working in the spare bedroom of his apartment.
Aha!
And that business grew and expanded. And after a number of years, I decided, hey, I've got more guts than brains. I'll go ahead and do that too. My specialty is different than theirs, and we had so many friends and clients in common over the years that when I went out on my own. Again, more guts than brains. I decided to work at the end of the dining room in the little house that I was in. And
Here we are, back to the kitchen. Yeah.
And again, the wonderful commute. The coffee pot's right there, and you roll out of bed in the morning and get to work. A very different environment. Very different environment at that time from a technological standpoint. The computer wasn't as ubiquitous as it is now. The internet basically was non-existent for most people. And that was back, I went out on my own in '97.
Right.
And so I've been doing this about 22 years on my own. And recently I've picked up with another company, another consultant that I've worked with, a guy named Gene Vincent, his lovely wife Heather at NetPro PC. And so you can get a hold of me at joe@netpropc.com or joe@mergens.com for any kind of consulting.
Well, we had a
needs,
little computer page up there too.
Oh,
that
there you go. Yeah, that's Mergens Computer Consulting. And like the cobbler's children, the last to get shoes, that's incredibly out of date. Well, the information is actually accurate. You can reach me at that email address, that phone number.
Good.
You can write to me at that street address. And generally speaking, I tend to update my client stuff more than I do my own.
Right.
And it's interesting, that relationship that you have with people over the years. I mean, it really is about building relationships with people. A couple of funny stories. As I went out on my own and I got called. The controller at the time, Kimberly Weber, a wonderful person, much kinder than I am.
That was over at Carvin.
That was over at Carvin.
Kimberly. Yeah.
She called me and she sought me out and said, hey, where did you go? You're not with the company you were with before, and we could really use some help, and we want you to come in and have a conversation. And I had a conversation with Kimberly, and I walked in the door thinking, I really, really need this work.
Yes.
When you work as a consultant, you work for yourself.
Right.
There are times when you sit at your desk and you watch tumbleweeds roll by, and you wonder, when the work is going to come in. And I'm doing all these things, and I'm reaching out to all these people.
Yes.
And it was wonderful to get that call. And she brought me into her office, and the president of the company came in, Carson Kiesel, wonderful man. I'm so incredibly grateful to that company and the experience that I had while I was there. he came in and we were talking, and I were discussing my rate and how much work that was there, and I gotten a great piece of advice from a CPA, Warren McGill. He works with the Zabel Foundation. He and his wife Brenda have run McGill & Company for a very long time. He's finally retired, and he's strictly working with the Zabel Foundation, giving away money right now. He loves that job. It's wonderful, and his wife continues to run McGill & Company, and a great CPA firm. I've known them 30 years.
Wow.
You know, these are people. They're very dear to me. You know, the consultants or the people for whom I consult. Anyway, long story short, I'm in the office, and I've given them, you know, this is what I'm going to charge an hour, and the advice I got from Warren was never discount your rate.
Right.
Because your strengths, your abilities, what you've learned is cumulative.
Right.
And there are plenty of people out in the world willing to sell you short. You should never sell yourself short. And this is true in so many aspects of life, not just what you're charging an hour for your time, but everyone has an intrinsic value, right? We all have an intrinsic value. Just like a $20 bill has an intrinsic value. Just because there might be some dirt on it, or it might have been crumpled up or thrown away, when you pick it up, the intrinsic value is still there. People are that way. We all have a value.
Yes.
And Warren taught me that. Brilliant guy. Anyway, I'm in the office, and Carson says, "Well, Joe, we you know, what can we do with the rate here? It's a little bit high." And I said, well, you have an opportunity there if you buy a block of hours, that there is a built-in discount if you buy that block of hours. And I'm hoping he'll get me 2 or 3 hours a week. Just, I've got my fingers crossed, you know, thinking I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got high maintenance children that need to eat every day, right? So he says, well, Joe, I think we could probably do about 10 hours a week.
Yeah. I can just see him doing that.
And I'm sitting there trying to be as calm as I can, wanting to just leap for joy at this agreement that he's come up with. And I felt so grateful, so much gratitude in that moment for being sought out by Kimberly, being called in to do a job.
Absolutely.
And it really, truly was a wonderful experience. You know. You
know, it's interesting. You know, in case Carson's watching, he got you over a barrel. Just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah, no,
Carson was very, you know, he knew what he was doing. That's why he was successful.
And he knew what he was doing.
Carvin for all those years.
He knew what he wanted, and very much a straight shooter. If he was happy, you knew it. If he was unhappy, you knew it. And I appreciated that. I definitely appreciated that. I appreciate that opportunity. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, you know, when I was over at Carvin, I never wanted to hear Carson say, Dave, I'd like to see you in my office. Bring a box. Uh-oh. My lunch box? No, empty one. Never happened, though. Yay! But no, they were great people, the Kiesel brothers, and all of the, you know, the Carvin legacy going along with it. Yeah. So Joe, it sounds like you've pretty much made a successful business, and you know, you're still running strong.
Still doing the same thing. One day on a trip out of Carvin, I got a phone call from a client up in the LA area. It's a publishing company. And the bureau chief calls and says, we have a problem, our mail server is not working. Well, this is back in the day when everybody had their own mail servers. Microsoft Online didn't exist. You couldn't have an Outlook.com or a Google Gmail account, any of this kind of stuff. None of that stuff existed. I get this call and they're like, our mail server isn't up. It's publishing. It was a Tuesday, and that was when the email had to come in for them to get the stories to print the paper for the next week. Critical. Important.
Critical.
I'm in Carmel Mountain Ranch. I get the call that they need me up on up in Beverly Hills, up La Cienega, the other end of La Cienega Boulevard, as soon as humanly possible. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh my! Rush hour just started.
So I got in my car. Fortunately for this particular client, I billed them on an hourly basis for travel time one way to get to their office.
Yeah.
Along with the time that I'm on site.
Sure.
It was 7 hours of work. 7 hours of driving, 6 hours and 58 minutes of driving, and 2 minutes of solving the problem in their office.
Wow.
You know, and it was, someone had been cleaning, the cleaning crew had come through and turned off a monitor on one of their main servers and kicked the power and turned it off.
Oh my.
They'd known enough to turn the power back on, but they couldn't see anything on the screen, and they didn't know why.
Right.
Because the power switch on the screen was off. I turned the power switch on, hit enter at a prompt to start the server up, waited for it to start, and I was done.
Yay, you solved the problem.
7 hours on the road. I got there.
Well, but I'll tell you what, you saved their bacon, didn't you?
Exactly, but that was a simple job, but for even in that moment, and a job anyone could have done if they knew what they were looking for.
Right.
Even in that moment, it's one of those things where, what do you know, and what are you doing, and how are you solving that problem? Are you trying to be as proactive as possible? And nowadays, in working with what I do with NetPro, we definitely move more towards, with a lot of our clients, to managed care, managed services. Okay, so they just want their computers to run, but they don't want to get a bill 2 or 3 times a year for a couple, $3,000-$4,000. They want to even that out over time.
Yeah, you want to spread out that cash flow.
And in addition to that, if clients do that, that gives me an opportunity to put in software that allows me to set up a service desk the same way a large company does, to manage the computers directly, to know when there's a problem before they do. When you get hit with a virus, if I know that it happens, you might not know it happens for a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, until you see something that you interact with, and now all of a sudden some software has come in and taken over your computer and is extorting money from you, saying, we've encrypted everything you've got, and if you want it back, you need to send us $500, $5,000, $10,000 to get your data back, or roll it back. So a lot of people, because this stuff gets so complicated now, it's so complicated, that what people really want is, they want it simplified.
Yes.
They want someone who's willing to come and speak to them in English.
Yeah.
And also not be condescending to them.
Right.
Another problem that I've seen in the computer industry, it's funny, that the old Saturday Night Live skit where the computer guy's like, move, I'd never actually seen that until people started to tell me about it. But what people want is, they want someone to be there to assist them, and not talk down to them or treat them like you're stupid for not knowing. What do you mean you don't know that?
Yeah.
Well, I kind of realized early on that every single person that calls me in to help me with their computer, they can afford to pay my rate. They've earned enough money to pay for my time to be there to help them.
Right.
I would be hard pressed to pay my rate. Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's not cheap.
Yes.
So when you look at this, when you look at that, it's like, well, they're successful in what they do. They've built a business. They've got so many computers out here. They've got so many people that rely on them to perform a specific job. If I had to do their job, I would flounder.
Yeah.
I try to learn as much as I can about it, because that really helps in implementing a computer system. If you know your clients well, then you know what to help them implement. But I can never have the skills that they have in their particular niche.
Right.
The same way I don't expect them to have the same skills that I have developed over decades in my niche.
Go ahead.
It's a question of, again, working from a position of gratitude, working from a position of understanding, working from a position of developing a relationship with someone.
There you go.
And then saying, where are we going?
Yep.
Where do we want to go? Where do you want to be with your stuff in a couple of years?
I wanted to ask you something before we wrap up.
Yeah,
and that is this AI. I've been accused of having artificial intelligence, as I shared with you earlier, before it was fashionable. But the thing is, where do you see that going, the AI, and also the 5G? Are you involved in the 5G at all?
Well, I will be. I mean, that's as the technology matures, as it becomes ubiquitous, it will be in people's hands, and I'll have to know how to work. But when you think about that, 5G it's a transportation system, if you will. Okay. It's like if everybody has a cell phone that's on 4G right now, and traffic moves so fast in that, the device that you're using will move more quickly. We already see people relying heavily on their cell phone.
Oh yeah.
Much more in most cases than a laptop computer or a desktop computer at home.
Good point. Yeah.
Salespeople out in the field, they're relying on a web-connected tablet, or they're relying on a cell phone or a phablet, big giant cell phone. Right? They're looking at these screens all the time. That computer, that phone in your pocket is a computer in your pocket. It is just as susceptible to everything that happens to your desktop. Ooh. Okay. Now imagine what they do faster. That's what 5G means. It's just a faster mode of communication.
Oh my. Do you think we'll get more stressed?
Hopefully not. Hopefully you're going to find somebody who can help you with your computer that's going to come in and alleviate that stress. Any professional in an industry, that's their job.
Oh, there you go.
I give you money, you take my stress. Right? If your computer person is coming in and you're more stressed when they're there and you're more stressed when they leave, then there's a problem. The same way, if you hire somebody to fix your car or build a garage, if you are more stressed dealing with them and the result of their work, then there's a problem.
Yep.
You know?
Well, I have a feeling, Joe, there's not many of those problems with your clients. And with Mia, again, I wanted to tell you how impressed I am with what you're doing, and I know that you know, there are lives that have been changed for the better from our men in uniform because of what you and your husband have done.
Well, and my staff. I really, you know, people see me, but they don't see all the great people working behind the scenes and the people that are, you know, getting up in the middle of the night. We're all of us have been on calls in the middle of the night or taking the phone calls or being there for our veterans and making this run. I mean, it really is a labor of love for everybody on my staff, and we're a small group, but we're a mighty group.
Well, I'd like to think that our little TV show is the same way. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah.
Hey, he said yes. Okay. Well, the thing is, we're in a beautiful place, North County, and you know we love where we live, and you know if we just help others and are civil to each other, I mean those are the basic building blocks of community anyway. So thank you again for the Roundtable Friends tonight, and for watching our program. We're on ncsdlive.com, and maybe we'll see you out at the Cruisin' Grand on Friday, and peek, because live, you're live. It's like smile, you're on a candid camera, but it'd be more like smile, you're live. Thanks everybody for watching us. We appreciate it, and we hope to see you soon. You take care now.